play you're about to see is one of 8 readings of plays in progress under the collective title Wexford Playwrights Studio, produced by the Wexford Arts Centre and supported by Wexford County Council and the Arts Council. At various stages of these works, the writers had the mentoring input of the Wexford playwright Billy Roach, the dramaturg Thomas Conway, and the playwright Deirdre Kinahan. We've now taken the latest draft of the works and given each a day of rehearsal and a half day of filming over a 2-week period with 12 actors assigned across the 8 plays. The process, though brief, has given all the writers an acute sense of what is working and not working in their plays, and a good basis for moving on to the next stage of development towards an eventual production. There are 4 female and 4 male writers of varying ages represented here, and we've been struck by the range and depth of talent on display. These plays are not yet the finished article, but I think they are a strong indication that creative writing for the stage is alive and well in Wexford and the South East. Enjoy.
Scene 1. A plain room with pale walls. A door in the back wall, stage right. There's a red button on the wall beside the door. It could be a fire alarm or a call button. There's a window stage left, but nothing can be seen outside. It is too high up. A square of carpet covers the centre of the floor, more than 16 feet square, the size of a boxing ring. There is a desk upstage. It is a plastic pine veneer that is common on the desks in classrooms and solicitors' offices. There is little, if anything, on it. This is not a space that is often used. In front of the table is a comfortable chair, stage left, and a very old sofa or chair, stage right. As the lights come up, there is a woman on stage. She is Dawn. Her clothing is nondescript, grey tracksuit and trainers. She is a boxer, bobbing and weaving, throwing punches, feinting, moving about the square, eyes always focused on an imaginary opponent, lost in the fight. While she's engrossed, Sorensen, a psychologist, enters unnoticed. His clothing is an attempt at casual, but the tweediness of his jacket gives him away. There's a leather satchel over his shoulder. He balks initially, then watches, fascinated. Accepting her behaviour, he shakes his head and carries on into the room, making for the chair, stage left, in front of the table. When he is within a few feet, Dawn quickly hops back from her imaginary opponent. The rest happens quickly. Sorensen makes a panic noise, caught off guard. Dawn, not realising she is company, spins around and lashes out. Sorensen cowers.
Jesus Christ!
The fuck are you?
What the hell are you doing?
The hell are you doing sneaking up behind me?
I did not sneak. I came into the room. My room.
No one ever told you not to creep up on a woman?
I did not creep. I simply entered the room. Either way, you seem perfectly capable of taking care of yourself.
I'm a boxer. Or didn't you know?
It was mentioned.
Who'd you talk to?
In your file. It's mentioned in your file.
What else?
What do you think it says?
No. You're not pulling that shite on me. What do you think it says? Think I'm thick, eh?
I reserve judgment on that for now. I'm Dr. Edward Sorensen, by the way.
I hate that name.
My name? Why?
Hate it.
And you're...
Dawn.
Yes, Dawn McCallum. I know that. Well, Dawn, would you care to sit down?
No.
No?
Rather be on my feet, ready, you know?
Fight or flight.
What?
That's your fight or flight response calling. Keeping you on your feet.
Don't run from anything.
No, you don't. You fight, Dawn.
I was born to fight.
Really?
I'm what I was meant to be.
Here and now or before?
Before, I suppose.
And you've never had a session like this before?
Psyche Val. Bullshit.
That's your opinion of my profession. Why? If you've never experienced counselling or psychiatry, how can you make that judgment? Would it not be better to give it a chance?
Well, I've never had sushi, but that doesn't mean I want it.
Maybe if you tried it, you might like it.
I hate fish. Fucking hate the smell, the taste, everything. So I know I won't like sushi. And the guy I know had some once and shot himself a few hours later.
I rather like sushi.
Enjoy shitting yourself then, do you?
Not as a general rule, no. I feel, though, that we're getting away from the point somewhat. It was agreed to sometime discussing your issues might be beneficial and help you move forward.
I've always been good at moving forward. My style.
Would you like to sit down?
You've already asked me that.
Dawn backs off. She's showboating but doesn't want to scare him. Sorensen writes something. Dawn is immediately edgy.
What you write?
I wrote the word willful. Might write some more.
Like?
I couldn't possibly say.
Bullshit. First impressions. I'll go first then. No interest in fashion? Comes from money with that accent. Not sure he has money now though. Yeah, wife clear you out in the divorce? Yeah, because you look like you live alone. How'd I do?
Why do you assume I live alone?
Now you've got food on your shirt. If anyone cared about you, they would have told you, wouldn't they?
I also think you're perhaps quite belligerent, antagonistic, defiant.
So I'm right then. Excellent.
I might add arrogant.
You think I'm willful because I didn't sit. You asked me if I would like to sit. You didn't tell me to sit, did you? That's not defiance. That's exercising free will.
And you get a lot of opportunity to exercise free will lately?
I've always been used to discipline.
Always? From an early age then?
Learn to get round it though, don't you?
What kind of discipline?
Kick in the arse or maybe a slap.
So then you had a difficult...
Oh, I know this one. I know this one. Tell me about your childhood.
Well, I wasn't going to be quite so blunt.
Like a fist in the face.
That could also be considered violence.
I know a bit about that.
Really? How?
Life. Boxing.
But the intention of boxing is not to do violence. Really, violence should have no place in a ring. True boxing surely has more in common with a dance than an act of pure violence.
Where'd they drag you out of?
When was the first time you saw boxing?
Saw it all the time where I grew up.
I mean, in a ring, professional.
Amateur.
Sorry?
You mean amateur. Because that's where most people see it, especially around where I'm from.
Of course, yes, that's what I meant.
My dad.
Your father was a boxer?
Yeah.
Was he any good?
Never anything special.
No?
Good, like, local, good. Could throw a couple of decent punches in his first round, but no staying power. Good at spotting other people's weaknesses, though.
Oh, really?
Ding, ding, out of the corner. One foot, other foot, feint to the right. Right hook, circle, jab, avoid their cross. Come forward, get them on the back foot. Opponent has bad footwork, a weakness, exploit it. Make them move, left, right, circle. Hide your own flaws, tear theirs apart. Weak side, attack it. If they bring their guard down, then they're tired. Make them work. If their footwork is shoddy, make them move.
So, was your father the one who introduced you to boxing then?
I was never introduced. Just was, something you talked about, watched, part of life.
Talking, watching, what about participating?
I didn't box till I was 17.
Really? I thought it was one of those things you had to start young.
It is. But you see, that's why I'm special.
When did you start then?
Late teens.
But then how long was it between you starting and turning professional?
Guess.
I couldn't possibly...
Guess!
Oh, I don't know, 5 years or some such?
Not even 2.
Impressive. You must have climbed the ranks very quickly.
Had my first amateur fight 3 months into training. Shoddy as fuck by one. As a boxer, you're nothing without the will to win.
And ability, natural ability.
That's a given. Like I said, I'm special.
But it wasn't your father who spotted this talent?
No.
Who did see it eventually?
I found my own way to it.
Yes?
My dad put all his energies into Kev.
Kev?
Brother.
Ah, go on.
Dad always thought he could get my brother into boxing, push him, and there was nothing he couldn't achieve, But you couldn't push a little boy like our Kev.
Oh, why?
Because Kev was always gentle.
And couldn't your father see that too?
No. The more Kev cried, the angrier Dad got. I hardly ever cried. But he thought he could beat the softness out of Kev.
Ah.
I don't know if that ever works.
Or if it just makes them worse.
Definitely made Kev worse. I thought he should learn to harden up a bit like me.
Did you ever think that was perhaps quite a harsh way to treat him?
Yeah, sometimes. Maybe if we'd been nicer to him, he wouldn't have turned into a serial killer.
He... What?
Yeah.
No.
Kev the Ripper, they called him.
No.
No, what do you think we are? Kev was gentle, still is.
Do you still see him?
Kev? No. Disowned me, I suppose. Disgrace to the family and all that.
You don't think it might be because of the way you treated him when you were younger?
What?
Well, like I said, hard on him. You had no empathy for his situation.
It wouldn't have done him any good. You had to be hard. It was the only way to survive.
But you said Kev was gentle, and he survived.
All right, it was the only way I could see to survive. Wasn't the right way, though, was it?
There probably were better ways to deal with your situation, but you were young in an environment that wasn't conducive to the sensitive handling of emotions. I can understand the mentality. The importance of not showing weakness to bullies is something I'm very familiar with.
Oh, yeah? What would you know, with your posh accent and education?
I was sent to boarding school when I was 8 years old. I know something of an abusive environment.
Oh, did Mummy and Daddy not love you?
No, they didn't.
Then we do have something in common.
Why do you think I feel so comfortable working in a prison? I like the institutionalization.
Why'd you have to remind me of that? I'd just forgotten.
What?
That I'm in a fucking prison.
Blackout. Scene 2. Another session. Dawn and Sorensen sit as before.
How have you been since our last session?
Fine. How's home life since our last session? Oh, wait, I forgot.
You seem disappointed to see me. Were you hoping for someone else?
Maybe.
Well, I'm sorry.
Why are you here?
Sorry?
Why are you here? As in, why are you spending your time with nut jobs in a women's clink?
Do you think you're a nut job?
No. Well, not me, obviously. The others are psychos.
Indeed.
Don't you have anything better to do?
Like,
Well, I don't know, do I? No suicidal bankers or cheating housewives to pay your wage?
I have clients outside of here, but I enjoy the work I do in prisons. I meet people who are different, interesting. I doubt I'd ever meet someone like you amongst the bankers and housewives.
Why do you do it when you're afraid?
I'm not afraid.
Yeah? What about how you reacted when you walked in on me?
Oh, that. I'll admit when I entered to find you in the middle of a boxing match against the Invisible Man, I was somewhat alarmed. I've never seen a female boxer in action, and well, it was intimidating. Do you know that? Do you know how easy it is for someone like you to scare people?
That used to make me happy.
But not anymore. Of course, the situation has a lot to do with my first impressions of you too. We're in a prison, and I knew from your file that you violently attacked a fellow prisoner.
Who had it coming?
And you've been kept in solitary confinement since then for the safety of the other inmates. And that you revealed your aggression and strength from the very moment I stepped into the room.
That was me just fucking around.
However, if I passed you in a street, I probably wouldn't notice you, or met you at a dinner party. I think I'd find you perfectly pleasant, if a little peculiar.
Dinner party.
Have you ever been to a dinner party?
So no.
Not your sort of environment.
And why'd you think that?
Well, would you feel comfortable at a dinner party?
I wouldn't fit in, would I? All those people thinking they're better than me.
I think everyone experiences that from time to time.
Except the ones at the top of the pile. I was there once.
Did it make you happy?
It's what you're always aiming for, isn't it? But I didn't belong there.
No?
Had to be taken down, didn't I? And who better to do that than me?
What do you mean?
Well, nobody else is going to put you in prison. You have to do that yourself.
I'm sure there are dozens of inmates here who would disagree with you.
They're just kidding themselves, aren't they? At the end of the day, it's something you did that got you in here.
That's a very astute observation. Most people think the universe has conspired against them when something bad happens. Very few people are prepared to own up to their own wrongdoings inside and outside of a prison.
My dad was like that.
Your father, did your father go to prison too?
When I was 12, came out just after I turned pro.
Do you mind me asking what happened?
He was shit. When boxing ended, and I can't say that he quit because he didn't, just sort of drifted to a stop. Anyway, where I come from, there's a use for a hard man who's got no money.
Ah, I see.
No, you don't.
No, you're right, I don't.
I remember them pulling up outside the house in a white BMW. I sat on the top step and listened. I wanted him to take a beating, like the one he gave us.
But there was no beating.
All they did was talk. Wanted him for a job, scare a few boys, rough them up. Yeah, it all went from there. He'd disappear for days sometimes. One time, Mam changed the locks. He was away so long we thought he was gone for good or dead. When he came back, put his fist through the glass panel beside the door. Got blood all over the walls and on the light switch and up the banister. Was still there the next day when the police came.
They were waiting for him to come home?
He only got 15 years, out in less than 10. They couldn't pin a whole lot on him. And it wasn't like he was going to admit to any of it.
Unlike you admitted to it.
I own what I did. I deserve to be here.
What did you do?
It's in the file.
I'd like to hear it from you.
Ever heard of the Haringey Boxing Cup?
No?
It's one of the biggest amateur boxing tournaments in Europe. I won it. Or I won my weight category. Light welterweight. Yeah, beat this Welsh girl who'd been boxing since she was a little kid.
Oh, really?
There was all this buzz around her, saying that she was odds on to win and how she was all set to turn pro. All the agents and promoters and sponsors were sniffing around her because she was the real deal. No one noticed me at the start. I'd never fought in a competition like it. Not at that level. But they started to notice me. Over those 3 days, I went from no one to someone. People wanted to talk to me, and they had nice clothes and Rolex watches, and yeah, I was happy all these people were finally paying attention to me. At first.
At first?
I knew it was all bullshit. Ended up just hiding in the B&B. It was too much. All those people wanting a piece of me, crowding around me. I've never had that before.
Indeed.
I don't like being crowded. I don't like having people in my face and at my shoulder, behind my back. It's too much. I suppose that's the good thing about boxing. The only contact you have is face to face.
And you do whatever you can to avoid contact.
Unless you're seeking it. And then you hit. And then they hit you, but they don't touch you.
What about grappling?
Again, face to face. I'm pretty good at avoiding grappling anyway. It's messy. Been brushing up on your boxing, have you?
A little. I thought if I had a better understanding of the thing you love most, I might be in a better position to help you.
How's that working so far?
I don't suddenly have the key that unlocks every part of you, Dawn. Like any relationship, you have to slowly try to gain an understanding of one another, gain perspective from the other person's point of view.
Relationship?
Doctor-patient.
I don't do relationships.
Have you ever been in love?
No.
That was a very definitive no. Are you sure?
Any relationships I've ever seen, women are just supposed to do as they're told. And when they don't toe the line, their toes get broken.
Have you ever seen a healthy relationship?
On TV, probably. In real life, yeah, watch the ones having a shouting match, pushing, shoving, hitting.
Everyone slows down to look at a car crash. Was it the problems between your parents that warped your idea of what a relationship looks like?
What does it matter? They've got nothing to do with who I am.
Well, on the contrary, early childhood experiences are shockingly formative. For instance, if a child sees, say, the body of a deceased grandparent, and it's not properly explained to them that the person is dead rather than merely asleep, it can warp a child's perspective on both death and sleep. They may worry that if they go to sleep, they too might not wake up.
Now I won't be able to sleep for fear of not waking up.
That wasn't the intention.
But maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing.
Are you suggesting that you welcome death?
Maybe.
Is this a recent development?
Are you trying to ask if I'm suicidal?
In a roundabout way, yes.
No.
Again, you seem very sure.
Are you trying to make me doubt myself?
No. It's just that when someone answers a question like that so quickly, so decisively, it does lead me to wonder if they are genuinely certain or deflecting. You are generally very good at deflection, so I have to ask to be sure, or as sure as you can be about such matters.
I'm not suicidal.
No?
Just fucking no!
Blackout. Scene 3. Sorensen and Dawn as before.
When were you suicidal?
Before
Prison?
before boxing.
Ah. And what was it that caused these feelings? Were you depressed?
I was lost.
By lost, what do you mean exactly? Bewildered? Helpless? Abandoned? Did you feel you had failed at something?
All of them, except bewildered. It was weird. It was so clear when I made the decision. It was like, why didn't I think of this before?
And did you actually commit?
You mean, did I go through with it? Almost.
How close?
There was a train went by near where my house was, so I just thought I'd, stand in front of it or something.
I once had a patient who was a train driver. A man killed himself by jumping in front of his train. He had nightmares for 11 years, lost his job, his family, his self-respect, all because the person committing suicide thought of no one other than themselves. He never considered the damage his death might have caused to someone else's life, the trauma.
I didn't go through with it.
No, you didn't.
I don't think people who commit suicide are thinking only of themselves.
What?
You said they think only of themselves.
Did I? Well, I suppose I didn't mean it.
I think you did on some level. And I don't know, you're the expert, but some people think their death is what's best for other people. That by dying they're saving everyone else. That people won't have to carry them anymore.
That's quite a shrewd observation. It's probably true in a lot of cases. Who were you trying to save by killing yourself?
Me? No. I wanted to die because I couldn't stand living anymore. Nothing to do with anyone.
Why the train? Convenience?
I thought it'd be quick, and I don't like things around my throat.
Any particular reason? What made you decide not to go through with it?
It's gonna sound so stupid.
I'd still like you to tell me.
There was this community notice board thing near the level crossing.
And?
Usually just graffitied or smashed up but when I was standing waiting for the train to come, the light over it was like flickering, corner of my eye, this neon tube on the fritz. And as I stood there waiting for the train to come, it just really fucking pissed me off. This thing flashing like a warning beacon, like it was alive.
When all you wanted was death.
When all I wanted was to be alone in the dark. So I thought, fuck it, and I went over to smash it in, because, what does it matter if I did? It wasn't like I was going to be alive to get in trouble. End it, then end me. But when I got to it, it stopped flickering, just stayed constant, and it was shining on the notice board, and in the middle of the board, boxing gym. Men and women of all levels welcome. So I left the train tracks, and the next day I walked into Ale Street Gym.
You were saved by a flashing neon light.
See, I told you it was stupid.
I don't think it was stupid at all. It seems rather poetic, really. Almost as if you were fated to find your calling in your darkest moment.
You just made it sound really wanky. Cheers.
That wasn't the intention. It merely meant that you hit rock bottom and managed to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and follow the path you were meant to. You rose to the pinnacle of your sport.
And then I killed someone.
Yes, you did.
And I didn't reach the pinnacle.
No?
I never got to fight for the big one, the belt.
The
world title.
Oh, you were really that good?
On the way to being. But then I killed that guy, and yeah. I wonder if I died that night on the train tracks, if he'd still be alive. Christopher. His friends called him Chris.
Did you know him?
No. Never met him. How'd you do that?
Do what?
Get me to tell you what happened. I don't ever talk about it, a deflection, like you said. But you still managed to bring me back to it.
Patience, practice. Oftentimes the things you don't want to talk about are the things that are bubbling below the surface, just waiting for a crack through which they can seep. If I ask the right questions, usually they're answered, eventually.
Right. Well, I think you've asked enough questions for one day. What are you going to write on your little bit of paper about me this time?
Quite a lot, I think.
Like?
You're the one who told me all these things. What do you think I'm going to write?
No.
No? What do you mean by no? Will you not talk to me?
No.
Does this mean you want to end our session? Because I really feel that we might be working towards something here. That we might be able to deal with these violent outbursts that manifest themselves outside of this room.
No.
Dawn stands and walks out. Blackout. Scene 4. Sorensen sits waiting. Dawn enters, angsty, defiant.
Ah, you decided to come back. Excellent.
I didn't.
You didn't decide to come back.
Nope.
But you're here.
Well, the screws made it pretty clear that I was staying in solitary if I didn't come back, so...
So you decided to come back.
Well, I wasn't like I had much of a choice, was it? It's not as if I want to spend almost every hour of every fucking day all on my fucking own. Messes with your mind, doesn't it?
I can imagine.
No, you fucking can't. You've absolutely no fucking idea what my life is like, any of it, with your education and your career and the respect people have for you. So what if Mummy never loved you? I could die and hardly anyone would care one fucking little bit about it. All you lot care about is that I don't accidentally off someone else before I get out of here because you don't want to have to do the paperwork.
You're not the only person who has led a troubled life. You do not have a monopoly on trauma.
Who's saying I'm traumatized? You know, I've never told you anything traumatic.
The violence of your father, his temper, his manipulation, his control, his so-called work, the night he broke into your house, the day he got arrested, all of those things have an effect on a child, on an adult even. And it doesn't take a psychologist to know that you have deliberately withheld other information from me.
I've told you plenty.
You've told me exactly what you wanted to tell me.
I didn't want to tell you all about the time I thought about offing myself. And don't you fucking dare tell anyone about that because no one knows about that. Understand? No one. Do you know how open that made me feel?
This is a safe space, Dawn. You're allowed to feel vulnerable here.
But I don't want to.
Well, then there's nothing I can do for you. You have to meet me halfway, Dawn. I can't help you otherwise.
I don't want your help.
Don't lie to me.
It's not a lie.
It is. You wouldn't be here if you didn't want help.
Oh, fuck you, you're brainless. Didn't I just say that I was only here so the screws would let me out of solitary?
But it's not up to them. It's up to me to sign off on whether I see you fit to re-enter the prison's general population.
Which you're going to do.
When I think you're stable, yes.
I am stable.
Right now, you are the furthest from stable I have seen you.
And whose fucking fault would that be?
Intimidation is not the way to get what you want.
Fucking got me plenty in life so far, hasn't it?
Yes, it's done an excellent job of getting you exactly where you want to be in life. Stop lying to yourself and to me, Dawn. It's eating you up, burning from the inside out.
I could kill you right here and now. Choke you or snap your neck, and there's no way you get within 10 feet of that alarm.
You could kill me, absolutely, but I think and hope that you won't.
Make me feel better though, wouldn't it?
In the short term, yes, of course it would. It would be a release, a relief. But in the long term, I think you might feel badly about it. Would you mind coming out from behind me, Dawn? It's a little disconcerting not being able to see you.
Dawn stays put for a moment, then comes out from behind him. As she passes his chair, her shoulders tense. It's subtle, but Sorensen notices.
Why do your shoulders tense so much when you turn your back on someone?
What?
When you face me, your body language is defiant, open. Your shoulders are back, your chin is up, you're proud, but as soon as you turn your back on someone, and I noticed it when I saw you walking down the corridor with one of the guards behind you, The tension in your shoulders is hard to miss.
Well, it's this place, isn't it?
You tell me.
It just did.
I don't believe you.
Well, you didn't like it very much when I was behind you, did you?
No, I didn't like it. But I'm sure you know as well as I do that if I were to show you that I was afraid, you would be more likely to attack me. So I don't think this place is the reason you're uncomfortable with people behind you. We both know you could and have caused serious injury to anyone who is foolish enough to test you. You could walk around like you owned this place if you wanted. Not that I'm suggesting you do, and yet you can't bear to have someone at your back. Tell me why, Dawn.
You really think I could own this place? Excellent.
Dawn.
I like to have the fight in front of me. I want to look my enemy in the eye.
I'm not your enemy. And I'm certainly not here to fight you, because if we fought, only one of us would walk out of here, and I'm sure it wouldn't be me. But I ask again, why can't you turn away from me?
I can. See?
That doesn't count. I've made you aware of it now, so you're going to do everything you can to prove me wrong, to make sure it doesn't attract attention. But I know what I saw.
Just whatever.
Dawn, I trusted you wouldn't hurt me even though you stood behind me and threatened to do so. I trusted you because I think you're intelligent enough to know that killing or hurting me would be of no benefit to you whatsoever.
Killing someone else was of no benefit to me either, so did it though, didn't I?
Even so, I trust you, Dawn, and I'm asking you to trust me.
Well, I don't. I don't trust anyone.
Trust issues are common in someone with your background.
Oh, fuck off!
You'd never met your victim before, had you? Christopher, wasn't it?
I told you that before.
Yes, you did. Was it a frenzied attack like the one involving the other inmate?
No. One punch.
You killed someone with one punch. How?
I didn't mean to kill him. It wasn't my
Fault?
intention.
Was it his fault?
No. It's just unlucky. Fuck me, it was so many things went wrong, like so many. He wasn't as tall as I thought he'd be, and he was standing closer than I thought too.
So there was conscious thought involved in executing the punch.
I don't know. No, I've replayed it over and over in my head, trying to work out what happened. What I'm talking about is instinct. You know, a boxer's instinct, the way you gauge an opponent's height, you know, their distance from you. You know exactly where they are, where and when your punch should land. You know, of course it doesn't always work. You know, the other boxer knows what they're doing too. Like, no matter how hard you try to land a solid punch, you don't always get to. But that punch hit him with everything that I had. And he didn't even try to get out of the way. He didn't have the time. The lights were out before his head hit the floor. Or the step. His head hit a step up off the dance floor.
Dance floor?
I just fought and won the biggest fight of my pro career in the Copper Box in London. When I came back, there was an exclusive party at this club in the city. You know, I got an invite. It happens when people start to notice you on the telly, you know, even if it's some obscure sports channel. Women's boxing isn't seen on the same level as men's, even though we put in as much work as they do.
You decide to go then?
God knows why. I hated those sort of things. But then it's what you're supposed to do. You know, sponsors want your face out there. You know, it's not good enough to win a fight. You have to be seen to be living the life as well. And I suppose up to a point, I was enjoying the night. You know, people actually wanted to talk to me about boxing. I was drinking, I was dancing, all these mad lights were turning everyone green and pink and white and blue, and they had these strobes and spotlights, you know, like the ones they do when you're with your big entrance and you're walking out into the ring. It was familiar in a funny way. The music, the shouting, the lights. I knew what to do, and then...
Were you drunk when you hit him?
Bit.
Do you think you wouldn't have hit him if you had been sober?
I don't know, do I? We'll never know.
So there's a possibility that even sober, you can react violently without any real provocation.
I was provoked.
How? What did he do?
The lawyer wanted me to plead self-defense. But I couldn't do that to him. To his family. And by all accounts, he was a nice lad. But then everyone's a nice whatever once they're dead, you know? Wouldn't matter if everyone knew that they were a cunt, they'd still be called a saint at a funeral. But yeah, I couldn't make out like he was the one who'd attacked me because he didn't. He just caught me off guard.
Did he come up behind you?
Yeah.
And the inmate you hospitalised?
Got what was coming to her.
Did she come up behind you as well?
From day one, she had this thing about me, you know, walking around like she owned the place just because she's high up in some gang on the outside, you know, treating the stupid ones and the kids like they're there to serve her. She fucking deserved it.
Yes, I understand her injuries were not lamented by many, but that still doesn't make it acceptable to take matters into your own hands and attack a fellow inmate without due cause.
I had cause. She came up behind me. I didn't know if she was going to push me down the stairs or shank me or anything.
And that was all she did, come up behind
She
you?
grabbed my shoulder.
And that was cause enough for, what were the words used in the report?
Oh, come on.
A frenzied assault which lasted less than 20 seconds, but left the victim needing reconstructive surgery on the left side of her face.
And my right hand isn't even my dominant hand.
Don't make this out to be less than it is. You lost control. You've done it at least twice, and on both occasions someone has been seriously hurt or killed. Once you could claim as an overreaction, a drunken accident, but twice the level of violence far outstrips the provocation. In that moment you are not you. You lose yourself to it. Why?
I'm a violent person.
You're not. I know you're trying to intimidate me. It's not working. It's deflection. You're using threatening behavior and violence to shield yourself. What is it that you're afraid of?
Dying of boredom before you say anything of any fucking use?
Deflection again. There is more to this. What are you trying to hide, Dawn? Dawn, are there other instances of you losing control when you attack someone with little provocation?
One.
Yes?
Guy in the gym.
Did he do something wrong?
No. He was actually just trying to be nice.
What happened then?
It was the end of a training day, you know, up at 5:30 in the gym at 6 and not finished until the evening. You know, we did days, weeks like that sometimes. Burnouts, I was fucked, like shattered at the end.
Your defenses were down.
There was this passage down to the changing rooms that was never lit. I didn't know he was following me.
Did he sneak up on you or touch you?
He put his hand on me. I'd left my water bottle by the ring and he was just giving it to me. But as soon as he touched me, it was like I just went from nothing to 100 like that.
Was there a conscious thought behind the reaction?
I was barely aware I was doing anything. I just went for him. Didn't even realise I turned around.
A subconscious reaction?
I mean, he was only trying to be nice, you know, he was fucked and all. It was just so I didn't have to go back in and get it.
How badly did you hurt him?
I didn't. He was a pro boxer, probably the best one in the gym. Even in the dark, he was quick enough to get out of my way.
Was he angry?
No. I just kind of laughed it off, you know, made out like I was playing around. I was in shock, my whole body shaking, like adrenaline too, I suppose.
Fight or flight?
It happened with the other two as well.
What?
The shakes. Only time I've ever gotten them when I lose control.
Tremors are sometimes a response to physical or mental trauma.
I'm not broken.
Sorry?
I'm not broken. I'm not some thing you need to fix. I'm not a puzzle with a missing piece that you have to find. Like I'm somehow not whole.
Dawn, I don't think that at all. There's clearly something that is beyond your control. Something that's causing you unbearable pain. I want to help you deal with it for everyone's sake. Most importantly, yours, so you can move forward.
Forward to what? 2 more years in here? And then after that, what? When I get out, I've got nothing, no one. The one thing that I had that was mine, that was everything to me, was boxing, and now I don't have that anymore. Maybe it's not worth carrying on at all. When there's no light at the end of the tunnel, why am I fucking bothering?
Dawn, so are you now suggesting that you might harm yourself? Because, you know, I have to report on inmates with suicidal ideations.
Now, you'll report me anyway, since if I tell you that I don't want to top myself, you'll just think that I'm lying.
I know you've been there before, Dawn, but I don't think you'll kill yourself. You've too much vitality for that.
I'm sure plenty of apparently vital people have strung themselves up on a rope or swallowed the contents of the bathroom cabinet. You know, apart from the pseudocream and the plasters.
Yes, they have, apart from the pseudocream and the plasters and the nail clippers.
And then there's the fact that I tried before, which will go against me, or thought about doing it.
What age were you when you tried before?
17.
Just before you started boxing, yes?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yeah.
What happened when you were 17? Dawn?
I was 16.
Blackout. Scene 5. Dawn sits in her chair. She's wearing a sleeveless grey sweatshirt that reveals a tattoo in the shape of a sun on her right bicep. Sorensen fiddles with papers, organises them, then begins.
Are you starting to see that there might be something of, what was it you said, any fucking use, or some such in our conversations, that they might be leading to something useful?
Something like that, yeah, maybe.
I'm flattered, really. I want to... Oh, I've not seen that before.
What?
Your tattoo.
Oh, right, yeah. You got any?
Several.
Fuck off.
No, I do, look.
Sorensen pulls his sleeve up to reveal the letter E tattooed on the inside of his forearm.
Who's E?
A mistake.
Oh, so you've made mistakes too, have you? And I thought your sort were too clever for the likes of that.
My sort?
You know, educated.
Are you joking? Have you never seen politicians? No one has a monopoly on mistakes, no matter their background. It's human nature to make mistakes.
And what was yours?
I married a woman I didn't love.
Don't most people?
Possibly.
What happened?
I was young, I thought it was what you were supposed to do. Finish school, go to college, meet a girl, get a job, get married, get a house, have kids.
How far did you get?
The married bit.
You went far then. What went wrong, apart from the not loving bit?
That was it, really. I didn't love her. She didn't love me. But then, as we've established, my understanding of love was warped from an early
Not
age.
realistic.
But love is real and possible. I've experienced it. It's profound and powerful. A wonderful thing when it's real.
Yeah.
I understand. You've never felt that way about anyone. Maybe one day you will be lucky enough to know real love.
Yeah?
Of course, it's not always easy to find. I married the first person who I believed to be in love with me, and I with her. It wasn't the case.
What was her name?
Ellen.
Married again?
She is, I'm not.
Well, I knew that already.
What makes you so sure?
No ring. And you don't look like a woman dresses you.
What's wrong with the way I dress?
Did I say there was anything wrong?
No, but the implication was there.
Maybe.
Which, coming from you in what you're wearing, is really quite crushing.
Piss off! Not like I have much of a choice in here.
Are you telling me you were the height of fashion on the outside?
Nah, unless it's stretched, I didn't wear it.
Did you show off your tattoo on the outside?
Of course. It was always on show when I boxed.
Some people don't want to show off their tattoos.
What's the point of getting a permanent mark on your body if you don't want to show it to anyone?
Maybe as a personal, private reminder. And then some people regret them. They wake up a day, a week, years later and realise indelibly marking themselves wasn't the best idea they ever had.
I don't regret mine.
It's a good tattoo. A sun.
Yes, it's a sun. Well spotted.
Why a sun? No reason? No reason at all? Because most tattoos are there for a reason. They have significance, meaning.
Looks good, I suppose.
So you went through the pain and expense of permanently marking yourself because it looks good,
Plenty people do.
but not you.
What others have you got?
None that I'm showing you.
Oh, come on. You want me to bare my soul and you won't even show me your skin.
I've got a Latin phrase across the top of my chest.
Which is?
Veni vidi vici.
What's that mean?
Julius Caesar. I came, I saw, I conquered.
Right.
Yeah, I was a bit up myself when I was younger.
Really? Never have guessed. Oh, what else have you got?
Some tribal stuff in various places from when I travelled. Pictures and tourist tat apparently weren't enough. I have to carry those places that I barely remember on my body for the rest of my life. One, I can't even remember where I got it. I may have been drunk. What?
Oh, just weird imagining you as young and drunk. You seem so boring.
I suppose that's the persona I try to cultivate in this sort of setting. It's about you, not me.
Which makes it hard to picture you on the outside. I suppose it's hard too for you to imagine me anywhere else but in here too.
On the contrary, you paint a very vivid picture of your outside world.
What's the world like? Only foreign places I've seen have been boxing tournaments.
I can't explain it to you. You'd have to experience it for yourself.
Can't really do that now, can I?
Once you finish your parole, you can go lots of places.
Yeah, maybe. Any other tats, or is that it?
I do have another, yes.
Of?
The initials of the only person I've ever really loved. And the day they died.
Oh. Sorry. When did...
3 years ago. Hit their head in a fall. So your tattoo isn't there to remind you of a particularly good sun holiday then?
No.
I've seen a sun tattoo before, you know.
Yeah?
A male patient.
Yeah?
In fact, we spent an entire session discussing the significance of his sun tattoo.
Really? I just thought it was pretty.
No, you didn't.
What makes you so sure?
I think aside from your occasional violent outbursts, you're quite a controlled person. The sort to ask why instead of why not.
Clever of you. Observant.
I'm right then.
Maybe.
What does it mean?
You tell me if you already know. Maybe I have it wrong.
They're usually a sign that someone has been through a difficult period, experienced some sort of trauma in their lives, and they've come out the other end stronger, at peace. They've seen the light.
What, like religion or something? That's bullshit.
No, there are better times ahead.
No one can know that for sure.
Well, they can hope, but you're right, they can't know. Why did you get it then, if not for that reason?
Because someone said that it symbolized strength, energy, the determination to succeed.
And that's what you needed for boxing,
That's what I had. Suppose the tattoo was there to remind me that sometimes.
you suppose?
Did you know the sun is a male symbol?
And the moon is the female, yes, I did know that, now that you mention it. Controls the male influence or some such.
Maybe it's there to remind me to be more like a man. Tell it like it is. Don't be emotional. Believe you deserve the things that you want. Say no whenever you want, instead of saying yes to please people.
The sun is the center of the universe, and you are the center of your universe.
Yeah, that.
The sun is a significant symbol in a number of cultures too. In Celtic mythology, for example, the sun was a fertility symbol.
Fuck no.
And healing. Similar with the Native Americans, they thought the sun could heal.
How do you know so much shit about shit?
I just do, I suppose. Read a lot. Some things just stick in your mind.
Suppose I wanted a sun because the sun always rises, no matter what, it keeps going.
The darkness is always followed by the dawn. Sorry, I meant that as the dawn, not you, dawn. The light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe you should have got a light bulb since it was a flashing light that saved you, eh?
No.
No? Maybe not. Maybe a little bit niche. Like your bicep had a really good idea, eh?
No, it had to be real light, natural.
The type you can't switch off.
Something like that.
Blackout. Scene 6. Dawn and Sorensen seated as usual.
I have a question that occurred to me a while back, but I never thought to mention it at the last session.
So you've nothing better to think about?
I have lots of things and people to think about. You happen to be one of them. But what occurred to me was the danger you've placed yourself in by attacking this other inmate. You said she was involved in a gang somehow, yes?
Apparently.
Don't you worry that there might be repercussions in the outside world having attacked someone affiliated with a gang?
I'm in here, so it doesn't matter, does it?
But eventually you'll be released. In fact, you've barely got 18 months left to serve, and you may even get out before that. Attacking this woman was incredibly dangerous. Surely you realize that you're risking your own safety. It can't be worth it, can it?
I've got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
What? I don't. When I get out, I've got nothing to go back to.
What about limbs? I'm sure there are unsavory folk who wouldn't mind relieving you of them, or perhaps a few digits, the sort of people whose profession it is to cause pain. People like...
My father. Didn't really think about that when I went for her. Just did it. And it felt good. Shit.
What?
Sounded like my dad, didn't I? And if there's one thing I don't fucking want to be, it's him. And yet...
And yet?
Well, I've become him, haven't I?
You became a boxer, yes, but you were successful. He wasn't.
He went to prison, and so did I. Although he had 2 kids and a wife by my age. At least I was never stupid enough to do that.
Why would having children be stupid?
You see the women in here who have kids on the outside. Half of them you'd never know it because they don't give a shit. The other half, it just eats them up. When they're up on the block, you catch them crying sometimes.
How do you know it's about their kids?
Just, they have a look about them. You know, when the lights go out too. If you're in a cell with a man that cares, you know there'll be times that she'll keep you awake. Sometimes you wish they wouldn't care. And then you wonder, are their little kiddies at home crying their eyes out as well, looking for their mam? Or if they're glad their mum's inside.
Because you've been on the other side with your father.
I know he never cried about losing his kids. You know, finally got rid of us, didn't he? I don't even know if I was relieved he was gone or ashamed to have a father as dirty as he was. And now look, I'm even dirtier than he was.
Why do you say that?
Well, he never killed anyone, did he? Or at least not that I know of.
And did you mean to kill someone?
No, but...
And did your father mean to harm the people he hurt?
Yeah, but...
Your father was a hired thug. He was paid to injure people. You threw a punch that accidentally killed someone. The 2 cases aren't comparable. No, this is something I want you to hear. Were he not your father, you would never think to compare your case with that of his. Just because you both happen to be boxers and you both happen to go to prison does not mean you're destined to follow the same path he did. You're not your father, Dawn. Your father was a hired thug. He was paid to injure people. You threw a punch that accidentally killed someone. The 2 cases aren't comparable. No, this is something I want you to hear. Were he not your father, you would never think to compare your case with that of his. Just because you both happen to be boxers and you both happen to go to prison does not mean you're destined to follow the same path he did. You are not your father, Dawn. All I know about him is what you've told me, but that's enough for me to know that you are nothing like him. For starters, I can't see him entering into this kind of conversation with me. He sounds much too self-absorbed to be concerned with comparing himself to others or worrying about people's perceptions of him. You accept responsibility for your actions. You feel you deserve the punishment you received for ending someone's life. He, by your own account, thought the world did him wrong by incarcerating him. He used violence against his family, beat his wife and children. I know you have no children of your own, but would you use your strength against them?
No, because I know what that's like. And I wouldn't do that to a little kid.
You are a better person by far than your father. And of course, there are people who will take a cursory glance at your situations and will find similarities. It's inevitable. But they see nothing but what's on the surface. Their opinions aren't worth anything, no matter how much they sting. And that is what you have to remember, because if you let people's negative perceptions of you seep into your consciousness, then you will become bitter and twisted and possibly violent.
You like words, don't you?
Dawn, I'm serious. You cannot let the outsiders win. You have to show them that you're better than they could ever possibly imagine you could be. You can be swallowed by immorality, or you can fight the darkness. You did once. You came back from the brink, back from another kind of darkness when you walked away from that train. You found your way to a better, brighter future with your times as a boxer. This is what you'll have to do again. It'll be hard, more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge this time. But you can do it, Dawn. I have faith in you. You don't believe me, do you?
I think you say a lot, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean I'm not going to try to do what you say, but not because you say I should, because I want to, because I knew I had to even before you said it.
I do mean what I say, Dawn. I wouldn't spout untruth just because I think it'll fix you. There are others who would, but I won't. I can't do that to you. It wouldn't be fair on you. And also, if you saw through it, you might give me a bollocking.
Thought you reckoned I wasn't violent, that I was a better person than all that.
If you lie to someone's face, a damaging lie, not a white lie, you deserve a bollocking. Although your version of meting out justice may be a little bit more painful than your average girl.
Spent my life surrounded by liars.
If you're cynical like me, you'll find life is generally full of them.
I thought you were meant to be all positive and tell me that life was all sunshine and roses.
We both know that that would be a lie, and I'm not going to lie to you. You've seen too much, done too much for me to do that.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh?
Just, shit.
Ah, yes, of course, shit, of course. I know what you mean, because I'm telepathic. It's very helpful when you're exploring people's mental states. You just have a rummage around in their brain and pop, there it is. Christ, I'm joking.
I know that. Just because I'm a boxer doesn't mean I'm totally thick.
I know you're not thick, Dawn. It came out wrong.
I just don't like the idea of someone seeing inside my head. It's fucking private.
Yes, it is. But sometimes it's good to talk about the things that rattle around in your head, that eat away at you. It's a relief to let it go and ease the burden.
You make it sound like thoughts weigh you down.
Well, they do. The thoughts just aren't in your head. They're in your body too. You've come across muscle memory. Of course you have. You're a boxer. Thoughts are fed by our memories, and we carry them around in our bodies. The feeling of a loved one touching you, the electricity in your whole body, the adrenaline rush when something good happens, the cold fear in the pit of your stomach, the sickness when you remember something bad. I'm sure you've experienced feelings like that. Unhealthy remembrances can make people gain weight, lose it, grind their teeth, develop tics, twitches. They might tense when they turn their back on someone or touch their left shoulder.
Think you're such a clever fucker, don't you?
Why can't you turn away from me without stiffening every muscle in your back?
Well, why don't you tell me, since you seem to know fucking everything already?
What happened when you were 16, Dawn?
Got it all figured out, have you?
No, Dawn, I don't. That's why I'm asking you to tell me.
You want to know about me when I was younger? All right then, I'll tell you everything. One winter we were so poor and so cold, my dad ripped all the skirting boards off the walls and burnt them. All the door surroundings, the banister, the balustrades, the door off mine and Kev's room. And then we burnt the bed frames. The doors off the kitchen cupboards went that year too. That was the year my dad quit boxing and didn't have a job. Then he got into the other shit. Oh, and he made money. But it was still years before we replaced all the stuff that we'd set fire to that winter. The banister was even replaced before we got new beds. Kev and me kept getting coughs and chest infections because we were sleeping on mattresses on the floor for so long.
That must have been awful.
First boxing match Kev ever had, he didn't want to fight because he had a stuffy nose. Yeah, kept dribbling down his lip, talking like he had a peg on his nose. But our dad still sent him in. Kev took 3 punches square in the face and he was on his arse, blood and snot dripping from his nose onto his chest. And do you know what our darling daddy did? Walked out, upped and left for the pub. So me and Kev were left there with no money and no way of getting home. Some old bird eventually took pity on us and brought us home on the bus. She smelled of cigarettes, had yellow fingers. You know, Kev never boxed in the ring again. And our dad never let him forget it.
And what effect did that have on you?
I can still remember going to my first big tournament as a kid with my dad. To watch, obviously, he said it's girls boxing was just a joke to him. The smell of sweat and dust and new equipment. One bloke in blue had a tooth knocked out and he sprayed blood all over the canvas. After the round, my dad sent me to find the tooth. Yeah, as a keepsake, you know. I can remember the guy in blue watching me with the trickle of blood dangling down his chin. I thought the tooth would be wet with blood, but it had already dried on by the time I found it. You know, I can still feel it, rubbing it in my pocket on the way home. That's what you call muscle memory, isn't it? You know, I think I still have that tooth somewhere. When you think about it, what kind of kid keeps someone else's tooth in a little box beside their bed? What kid thinks it's all right to pick up someone else's tooth and keep it in the first place?
One that doesn't know any better. This is interesting, but is there a point to it all?
You wanted me to tell you about myself, didn't you?
But fascinating as your life story no doubt is, we could be here for years and not say anything that is of any use to either of us.
And if I want to tell you things, aren't you supposed to let me tell you things?
Do you really want to tell me your life story?
No.
Then tell me what happened when you were 16.
I can't, I just can't. It's...
I know it must be hard.
No, you fucking don't!
You're right, I shouldn't...
You have no fucking idea. No idea. And don't you sit there and pretend like you do. Growing up, you never stood in a woman's skin and know what it is to be seen as nothing other than a means to an end. You have never been afraid of your fucking life of the men that came into your house.
All right, Dawn, I'm sorry. Truly, I shouldn't have said that. You're right. I really don't know what it's like. But if I'm to understand, you're going to have to help me to do that. Help me to understand, Dawn.
I can't go back there again. I can't go back to that room. Don't make me. I won't.
Just breathe, Dawn.
No.
Dawn.
No, I can't. Don't make me.
It's all right, Dawn. You're safe. No one can hurt you here.
I can feel it. Like he's still there.
Just listen to me, Dawn. I want you to breathe.
I don't want to be here. I can't be here. Why am I here again?
You're here with me, Dawn. No one can hurt you here. I can protect you.
Not when he's in my head. You can't. Not when he's in here.
What is it?
You'll protect me. Funny.
Well, if the situation arose, I would. I mean, this is our space, my space, our space, and it's important that you feel safe here. If someone came for you, I would feel duty bound to step between you and them. Although, truthfully, I would feel braver knowing that you were behind me.
Because it's safer for me to be at your back than you have to be at mine.
Well, there is that. I just meant that you can handle yourself. Having someone like that on your side makes you braver. And if you're on my side, Dawn, then I'm wholeheartedly on yours.
You'll protect me, right?
I'll do whatever I can.
All right, then.
All right?
Yeah. All right.
Blackout. Scene 7. Dawn is sitting in her seat. Sorensen enters but stays at the door.
Permission to enter?
Very funny.
Well, last time you nearly knocked me out cold.
You snuck up behind me.
Which I will never do again. Scout's honour.
You were a scout?
I was. Very informative. Learned how to light fires in the forest and all sorts.
I learned to light fires with matches in a fireplace. Oh, and in some other places too.
You know what they say about playing with fire.
That you're gonna get burnt?
But then it also provides warmth, light, hope in the darkness.
Yeah. And it can burn your house down and you in it.
How have you been since our last session?
All right. Weird. Just, I think I frightened myself a bit. People don't see that side of me, ever. Or if they do, it's when I'm beating the shit out of someone. You handled it well, though.
Believe me, it was touch and go for a moment, but I knew I had to stay with you. I knew I couldn't leave you alone with whatever it was.
The nightmares have started again, though.
Nightmares?
I haven't had them for a while. Not since I first arrived here.
What are they about?
It's always the same. I was caught and I couldn't get away, and once I woke, I'd be afraid to go back to sleep in case he was... But once I started boxing, I stopped. You know, I was calmer during the day, focused, and I was so fucking tired I could sleep straight through the night. I suppose once I broke the cycle, they stopped, but then when I killed Christopher...
It all came back.
Like muscle memory.
Muscle memory?
In here, though, I don't need to dream it because I see it over and over again, playing out around me as if I'm back in my bedroom and 16 again.
16? So this isn't about Christopher, this is about...
3 o'clock in the day, and in my mind's eye, it's dark, apart from the bedside lamp over there, lighting my bedroom and making the front of the white wardrobe look pink. I couldn't figure out why.
Why what?
Why the front of the wardrobe looked pink.
Is there someone there with you?
Of course, I know now that it was because the lampshade was red. And I don't know why I couldn't figure that out. It was so obvious when you think about it. But then, well, I don't want to think about it. I spent years trying not to think about it.
About what? Who?
Eddie.
Who's Eddie, Dawn?
Do you know what I realised, though, during the week? All my life I've had noise. TV, music, streets, cars, phones, towns, cities, people, always yak, yak, yak. I don't know what it is to just have silence. Or I didn't. Not on the outside. And not when I was on the main block. There's just people everywhere all the time. Even after lights out, the air is humming. But when you're in solitary, you don't get that. And it scares the shit out of me. Nothing but you and what's in your head. And you know what's even scarier? Sometimes there's nothing in there. Just... Then you realize it's not empty. It's that you don't want to face what's in there. Because it's there. Oh, it's always there, just waiting for you to look its way. And then it's got you. And once it's got you, it's not going to let go.
What's it?
You wonder if you're smart or stupid, or if other people's brains work this way, always making you think of the things you don't want to. Why can't I forget it? Why are things branded into the inside of your skull, like burnt in, the one thing you never want to think about, and it's there all the fucking time? You can see it, smell it, taste it, feel it. It's in the room with you. It's the one thing keeping you company, and it's part of you. You make it real. It's inside your head, but it's outside your body. It's standing behind you, waiting to choke you when you least expect it, just as if it was real.
Dawn, what is it?
It's the reason I am the way I am.
Can you tell me about it?
I can't. Not yet, it's just... I think if I tell you now, it'll break me, and I can't break, I can't.
So you can't speak about Eddie?
Can I tell you about Fletcher instead?
Who's Fletcher?
He owned the gym. The gym I walked into that day when I was 17.
All right.
I was so afraid of failing. You know, it was nearly all men, but somehow they were familiar to me. Boxers, and I was all right. You know, I felt all right around them, which I hadn't felt, not after. Anyway, I was, starting on the back foot, like physically. I mean, I was fat, unfit, been smoking since I was 13 and drinking.
Did you drink for pleasure or because of peer pressure or to forget?
Yeah, that. was too stupid to realise it was making me worse. Fletch said if I wanted to be a good boxer, I had to change everything. I couldn't go outside midway through training to throw up behind the bins. You know, he is just one of those people who had that aura about him.
He talks and you listen.
And not because you're afraid of him, like because you respect him. He must have been the first man I'd ever met who could do that. You know, because growing up, it was a case of either having like no respect for something or, you know, being afraid of them. Fletch had faith in me, which was nice for a change. You know, told me from the start that I might have what it takes to be a good fighter, but only if I was willing to work.
He recognised something in you that your own father couldn't even see.
You know, Kev wasn't the fighter, I was. You know, my dad spent 15, 16 years being disappointed. He didn't have a kid to do what he couldn't. He put everything he had into Kev and never saw that he was putting it into the wrong one. You know, I was there, always there, standing ringside, studying, learning. But inside it was where I belonged. I was born to be in a boxing ring, but not according to other people.
Because you were a girl.
And all girls are good for was causing problems and having babies, which in themselves cause more problems. No one saw what I was capable of, except Fletcher.
I think Fletcher is the first man I've heard you speak well of.
And how many women have you heard me be all nice about?
Fair point.
Fletcher was the first person who didn't push me away or use me.
Did you love him?
In the way you love someone who cares about you and wants the best for you. He never wanted anything from me.
Did he not want you to be successful?
Yeah, but not for himself. You know, he wasn't up himself like loads of those boxing types. He didn't need to be seen the way everyone else does. He wanted me to be successful for me.
Sounds too good to be true.
He's not.
But you told me before that no one cared whether you lived or died. It sounds to me like Fletcher might.
Yeah, well, I was angry, and sometimes it's just you against the world and you can't see the people who are on your side. Especially being alone all the time.
You forget the world outside and the world in here. The world with no one else in it takes over.
Fletcher came to visit me last week. It's the first time I've seen anyone since I attacked her. Do you know he's the only one who still visits me? Don't know why. I ruined everything. I let him down. Let myself down. I'm his biggest disappointment.
Did he tell you that?
No, he doesn't need to.
Are you ashamed of what you did?
Of killing Christopher? Of course. All the time. I was never one of those people who wanted to kill. I never would have killed anyone except, well, yeah.
Except?
I feel so much shame. I'm ashamed of killing, but then I'm ashamed of the shame because it wasn't really me. You know, I own what I did. I killed him, but it wasn't me who hit him. It was someone else's fault.
You ended someone's life with your bare hands, the bare knuckle, in fact. How can you not be the one to blame?
Don't you see? It's him.
Who?
It's all because of what he did to me.
Who, Dawn? What did he do to you? Who did what to you? Eddie?
Yeah. Him.
Blackout. Scene 8. Dawn standing. Sorensen sits. Silence.
Does Fletcher know what happened? Dawn.
No one knows. I couldn't show them I was weak.
Weak?
Weak's the wrong word. Vulnerable? That's the word you've used, isn't it? I couldn't show them that someone could get the better of me.
Eddie?
Eddie.
Who's Eddie, Dawn?
Can I explain something first? I know it's going to sound like deflection, but I have it in an order in my head, and I don't know if I can tell you without... I'll get there, just give me...
Tell me exactly as you want to.
Okay. After my dad went away, it was like there was sunshine after rain and dark. It was good for a while. But I suppose you can always count on the weather to change.
Things got bad again.
I suppose it was like we didn't know how to live in the sunshine. Yeah, we didn't know how to be normal when we didn't have someone to turn against, someone to unite us. Even if we were united just because he hated him. So I hated Mam, she hated me, and Kev just hated himself.
Why did you hate your mother?
Because she blamed me and Kev for everything. She didn't want us, and she definitely didn't want Dad. Always saying she would have been better, happier, I don't know, a fucking millionaire without us. Said she'd leave us and go and find herself a real man. She was deluded. There's only so many men interested in a woman living on handouts, sits in front of the TV all day. None of them good. And well, yeah, we didn't get on.
Were you ever violent with your mother?
No. Shouting mostly. Maybe slammed doors and threw things, but never physical contact. Don't even remember her hugging me.
So you never punched or attacked her even though she provoked you?
No, I was...
Yet?
All that was before...
Before boxing?
Yeah, but...
So your violent or aggressive tendencies have sprung from boxing?
No, I've explained this. Boxing did the opposite. Like, it channeled the aggression, gave it an outlet, a focus. It made me calmer, happier, healthier. I was the best version of me when I was boxing.
But didn't you say in our first meeting that boxing was violent?
It is, but you train or spar or fight in the ring and you leave it all there, like a purge. Afterwards, your whole body and mind is clear, lighter, calmer.
Did you feel the same after you attacked the inmate?
No, not really. It was shock. I barely even knew I'd done it. It was like...
Someone flicked a switch.
That's it. That's what it was like an electric shock, I'm seeing, but not really seeing when those things happen. The attacks. Everything turns blue and white.
Did you experience this with boxing?
No, never. Boxing was always clear, high definition, in front of me. I could see it all.
It was never behind you?
No. Anyway, Mam couldn't stand being alone, always had someone on the go. But there weren't many who stuck around, apart from Eddie. He was, well, I suppose you'd have to call him her boyfriend, he was around so long. And Kev and me, we both liked him, he was never like the others who took one look at two teenage kids and thought they were the enemy. No matter what shite Mom said about us, he always just was nice, never rude. And he never tried to be our best friend either. He seemed like good. Even so, whenever he was there, I usually went upstairs, because if he was there, Mom was there. But sometimes if he made tea, he'd bring up some to me and Kev, just nice, And then one evening...
Dawn?
Just give me a minute.
Of course. Take all the time you need.
One evening, Eddie comes up to my room with tea. I'm sitting with the lamp on because the bulb's blown in the main light, but he doesn't know that, so he flicks the switch on the wall, asks why I'm not working, why it's not working, and I tell him it's blown. He asks why I haven't replaced it. Say I don't need it, and that's it. But he stands there too long, just looking at this dead bulb. I wonder, was that when he decided to do it, or was it after, or was it his plan all along?
What?
I didn't think much of it at the time. Bit weird, maybe? Then about 2 weeks later, at night again, I was in the house on my own. Knock on the door. I go downstairs, look out, and it's Eddie. Open the door. Tell him Mom's gone out. Says he knows he's come to change my light bulb, and he pulls out one of those little rectangular boxes out of his pocket. He says, lead the way. So I go on up the stairs ahead of him. When I walked into my room, he was behind me, and I wasn't thinking about him being behind me. I was looking at the front of the white wardrobe and how it looked pink in the light of the bedside lamp. And I was hoping that he didn't think I was really stupid and girly with a pink wardrobe, which wasn't pink. It was white. Because that's all you can think about when you have a stranger in your room and you're 16. A stranger that you trust. You see the stupid things you're ashamed of rather than what's behind you. Because pink equals girly, and girly equals stupid, and girly equals weak. I didn't know how right I was. And it was the last moment I didn't. He came from behind. But then you'd already worked that out, hadn't you? He grabbed my shoulder first. Then he let go of my shoulder and put his hand over my mouth. Then his other hand went around my stomach and he lifted me off the floor. Then he pushed me onto the bed. His hand went back to my shoulder. He had his thumb and the ball of his hand on the back of my neck, like holding me down. His hands were so big. I can feel his fingertips digging into my shoulder, and I still remember the feel of the duvet cover on my tongue when I tried to scream. When it was over, he left a little rectangular box on the bedside table, and it sat there for months. When I finally opened it, the bulb inside was broken. And it was like it happened all over again.
Sorensen goes to her and puts his hand on her arm. Dawn does not pull away. Gently, he puts an arm lightly around her without confining her.
Is this all right?
Yeah. I told you, and now I just feel nothing. It hurts so much holding on to it. I didn't realize how much it hurt.
It's all right, Dawn. You're safe.
You probably shouldn't be touching me. If anyone walked in, they might think you were trying to... I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'll take my chances. Besides, I don't think anyone would believe I could force you to do anything.
No, they wouldn't.
Could you have paused to think about that reply for a moment? Allow me to maintain a little of my, I don't know, pride, dignity?
No.
I suppose given the situation, my pride is the last thing I should be concerned about.
No one wants to admit their weaknesses or have them on display.
I always wanted to be one of those men who could sweep a woman off her feet, physically and metaphorically.
Ever done it?
No, I hurt my back when I was in my early 20s. I've never been able to lift anything heavy since.
Oh.
You know, we're taught that being a real man is to be tough, strong, be more powerful than women. Even though I admire you and admit that you could overpower me, there's still a part of me that resents my own weakness. That if it came to a fight, I couldn't best a woman like you. You know, I feel guilty for thinking that way. It's the way we're brought up, especially when you go to an old boys' boarding school from the age of 8.
Or live on an estate where the women stay at home cooking and having babies while the men go out into the world. I fight the opposite fight to you. In the end, you're supposed to submit to men, do as they tell you, do as they make you. Where I come from, women are tough, but that doesn't stop them drinking, taking drugs, going out, about like walking bruises, carrying the scars. They accept their fate. But for some reason, I couldn't. Does that make me weaker or stronger than they are?
It makes you different than them. The unfortunate truth is, Dawn, no matter where you go, you don't fit. And to a greater or lesser extent, that's the lot of human existence. You didn't break the mold. You fashioned a new one. You've isolated yourself with almost every decision you've made. You're a female boxer. You started later than normal, but still got there without coming up with your peers. You entered the male world and asserted your dominance with a single-minded focus that couldn't help but leave you isolated. You bucked the trend of what are accepted as male and female roles, professional roles. That's bound to set you apart.
How would you know if I was single-minded or not?
I spoke to Mr. Fletcher.
Oh, why?
Curiosity. I shouldn't have gone behind your back. I'm sorry, I had planned to tell you, but it didn't seem like the right moment. He really seems to love you, like a father would love a daughter. And he worries about you, really. It's probably the most genuine interest in someone else's welfare that I've ever seen. I understand why the two of you became close. But that being said, I don't understand why you wouldn't at least trust him enough to tell him what happened.
And how would that conversation go? By the way, the only reason I'm here is because I tried to off myself after a man...
After a man raped you?
Yeah, that.
Have you ever said it aloud? Even to yourself? Can you?
No, if I say it, there's no going back. I don't know what else might come out. Parts of myself I'll lose if I say it.
It's just a word.
It fucking isn't. I've told you what happened. That's enough.
It's not, and you know it.
Whatever.
Dawn.
What?
Thank you for telling me.
Blackout. Scene 9. Dawn standing, leaning against the back of the chair. Sorensen sitting.
Do you know what the most difficult thing about it is? Like, I hate him and the fact that he violated me, betrayed me, that I was stupid enough to let him, not see it coming. But part of me is, I don't know, grateful. I wonder whether what he did to me made me what I am. You know, that I would never have found boxing, found the thing that made me happiest in life without what he did. That was meant to happen to me when I was 16, and if it hadn't, I'd be, I don't know, a single mom on benefits with 2 kids in a shitty house with no skirting boards or banisters on the stairs.
I see how you might think that way, but what you've got to remember is that you were the one who made the decisions that got you where you were. Maybe what happened when you were 16 wasn't fated, as you say. You were fated, or a better way of putting it might be that you were meant to be a boxer. It was up to you to find your way to it, and in the end, under dreadful circumstances, you did. Don't let him have the glory of what you did. He didn't make you. He almost destroyed you. You made you.
But then he ruined everything again.
He put his hand on your shoulder.
He came up behind me and put his hand on my shoulder. Now, every time I feel someone too close to me, I have to tell myself it's not him. Problem is, when I don't know someone's there and they touch me, I don't have time to convince myself that it's not him.
You just react.
And I try so hard not to. But I just can't help it. It's muscle memory.
To an extent, but forgive me if you think I'm speaking out of turn. It's also a reaction to the shame you feel.
I don't feel...
I'm not saying you should feel shame. Absolutely not. The shame is all his. But just because you shouldn't doesn't mean you won't.
I suppose.
Shame is an incredibly powerful feeling, and time and again I've seen how that shame manifests itself in violence. With violent individuals, male and female, much of the work I do involves excavating their past or their mentalities to find the shame that festers within, and once we find it and become aware of the triggers, we can begin to move forward.
Begin? You found out what made me the way I am, isn't that it?
But you knew why you were the way you were before you told me, and it hasn't curbed the violent outbursts. I know you don't want to, but this is something you have to face up to. It will be painful, and I have no doubt you'll get angry, violent possibly, but you have to address this, Dawn, for your sake as well as the people around you.
What are you going to do? Hypnotise me and make me all better or something? Or do you wave a watch on a chain? Do I look into your eyes?
No, I'm not Paul McCann.
Who?
Paul McCann, you know, the hypnotist bloke off the telly.
Oh yeah. I wonder whatever happened to him.
Someone forgot to wake him up one day or some such. Anyway, this isn't about hypnotism or filling out a questionnaire or anything like that. It's about working through your personal sense of shame, which causes overreactions that are violent. It taps into the most primal instinct we have of fight or flight. When you feel shame, you feel exposed, vulnerable, weak. It's terrifying when someone else sees that, so you lash out to convert that exposure to dominance. Almost everyone I have come across who, like you, is prone to violent outbursts has experienced some kind of trauma in their lives. Violent or unloving parents.
Yeah.
They've witnessed gang violence, death, racial abuse. Some have a chip on their shoulder because they're small, a Napoleon complex, so they may simply lash out because the other party makes them feel uneducated or inferior.
Do folk take against you because you're some hoity-toity psychobabble clever bloke?
Not generally, no. I don't think you did.
Did a bit. It's like one of those, what did you call it? Inferiority complexes or whatever. I didn't like you straight off because you were all posh and educated and stuff.
Your shame doesn't come from inferiority, it comes from trauma. You've got post-traumatic stress.
I thought that was something soldiers got.
No, anyone can suffer from it. You clearly do. You're a casebook example. Recurrent memories, flashbacks, nightmares, a physical reaction to reminders of the event that causes you distress. You should have been diagnosed years ago. If you had and got the help you needed, you might not have had to live with the trauma for so long.
And I might not have killed someone.
Yeah.
Are you trying to make me feel more shame? That because I didn't get help, I'm, I don't know, twice as responsible for killing him?
No, I'm just telling it like it is. Of course, the way you were brought up, you would never consider getting psychological help. You'd probably see it as a sign of weakness. But facing your trauma, facing your demons can give you great strength. Again, it's about moving forward and being the best version of yourself you can be. Just like how you felt when you were a boxer.
I am a boxer. Or at least I still see myself as one, even though I know I'm not, that I can't go back to it. But I've never been anything else. In all my adult life, I've been either a boxer or what I am now.
A prisoner.
Yeah.
Then perhaps if we can work through your issues in the right way, the process will help you see another path, another future. You can move on.
Move on?
You can do it, Dawn. I know you can. You have so much latent potential. If you're simply brave enough and patient enough to work through these problems, you could achieve so much.
Simply brave enough? You're joking. Simple.
No, it's not going to be simple, is it? But you can do it, Dawn. I know you can. I have faith in you.
Like Fletcher?
Yeah, just like Fletcher.
But what if I let you down too?
Well, that's something only you can control. I can help, but really moving past this, moving forward, it's up to you. Do you think you're ready to do that?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I can do it.
Blackout. Scene 10. Sorensen is alone. He speaks into a dictaphone.
Patient 28. Notes on first meeting. Immediate impressions confirm suspected disregard for authority figures. Hostile from the outset, though very open to talking about herself, and was very open about the racism she has experienced throughout her life. This has no doubt had a lasting impact on her fight rather than flight response. Also, a contributing factor.
Dawn enters the room unseen, much as Sorensen did in the opening scene. She watches, then approaches, but he remains unaware.
It's her early exposure to gang violence, which has led to a normalization of physical rather than verbal problem solving. Patient 28 equates violence with improved social standing. Considering her position of apparent power within the prison and the fear she simulates among the other prisoners, it may be difficult to convince her to relinquish her reliance on violence to gain respect.
What number was I?
Fuck me! Where did you come out of? Don't you knock?
The guard said you were on your own, so I just came straight in. Sorry?
Trying to give me a bloody heart attack, that's what you're doing.
Now you know how I feel.
You're very fucking funny.
You're very sweary today. Everything all right?
Yeah, you're no longer my patient. I can say whatever the hell I want now.
Oh, didn't you anyway?
Yes, but just with less swearing.
Oh, right.
You were patient 12, by the way.
Lucky I wasn't 13, eh?
Wouldn't have made any difference.
Suppose not.
You would have been a pain in the ass no matter what number I gave you.
I could report you for that, you know, hurt my feelings, that might.
You could, but I know you won't. I know you're tougher than all of that.
You're right, I am. And I know you love me really, eh?
I love you, do I?
Oh, of course you do. I'm just a lovable type, aren't I? If you were talking about Kaya Harris, by the way, she's got a kid.
I don't know how much you heard, but you shouldn't really have heard any of it.
Oh, right, sorry.
I take it I can count on your discretion.
Didn't hear anything. But if it was Kaya you were talking about, she's one of the women who cries at night because she's not allowed to see her kid.
She didn't mention it.
Well, she wasn't going to start crying in your first session now, was she? Ruin her hard man image.
She cries.
And she thinks no one's looking, yeah. I mean, most of us do, but no one will admit to it.
Do you cry?
Well, I wouldn't admit to it if I did, would I?
Any other insights into my new raft of patience? Actually, I shouldn't really ask you, that breach of confidence and all that.
Well, none of them will hear anything from me. I'm done.
Done?
Finished. Out. Released. Done my temporary release and parole and all that. 4 more days and I'm free-ish.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Oh, you don't sound very pleased for me.
No, I am.
I just wanted to, you know, say goodbye. But if you're busy, I'll leave you alone.
No, don't. Stay. Sit, please. Please sit down. How have you been since our last meeting? What is it now, 8 months?
Nearly 9. Good, yeah, they put me back on the block, but then they did that before our last session, didn't they? And I've been there ever since. So I've got the inside scoop on everyone if you want it.
Not saying it wouldn't be useful, but it's not exactly ethical.
You think ethics plays a role in a place like this?
Maybe not, but in this room with me, they do.
Does it get lonely up there on your moral high ground?
Yes, desperately so.
Maybe I should try it up there someday. I like being alone. Although the fact that I killed someone might make it hard to stay there.
So did you ever write to Christopher's parents like we discussed?
Yeah, his mum wrote back. I didn't expect her to do that. I kind of wish she'd been horrible, but she was really nice. If she'd been angry, I could have dealt with that. But she was just so nice, you know. I don't know what to do with it.
What did she say?
And she was sorry for what had happened to me. And she was glad I was getting the help I needed to finally move forward with my life. How can she say that when her son will never get the chance to move forward? Like why doesn't she hold it against me?
Because she's a good person.
Maybe.
Or maybe she knows that being kind will upset you more than cruelty.
Well, that's fucking cheerful, thanks.
I'm just telling you what you're thinking. I am, aren't I?
Smart arse.
Educated.
Oh, fuck off.
But no, you'll never make your way in the world with an attitude like that.
Yeah. Did you hear I've got a job when I get out?
No, what is it?
Working at a women's refuge on a temporary basis for now, but hopefully it'll lead to something more permanent.
And what will you be doing there?
Bits and pieces. Dunno, really. They reckon having an ex-boxer there'll make the women feel safer. And then I've been doing the certificate in counselling too, which might be useful.
Very. Yes, excellent. Do you realise you just called yourself an ex-boxer?
Yeah. It's time to let it go.
And how are you finding the counselling course?
Had to catch up with the others because, you know, they won't let you do any courses when you're in solitary, but yeah, the tutors are happy with my work and they think if I keep going, I could make a really good counsellor. You know, I can tell someone I know how they feel and mean it. I've been there and I've got past it and now I'm able to move on.
Truly, you really feel you can move on now?
Yeah, I do.
You probably know this already, but the improvements are going to be gradual. You'll have setbacks. It may seem unfair of me to tell you that, but it's better that you know.
Because if I hit a bad patch, it's better to know that they happen to everyone than think they happen to me alone.
That's it. I don't mean this in terms of being any kind of male saviour, but I'm really proud of you, Dawn. The life you've experienced, and yet you're still strong.
You know, people assume when I walk into a room that I think I'm the biggest person in it, when all I'm trying to do is not show them how scared I am. I'm hoping no one will touch me.
It's a feeling you might never get over.
I know. But I know now that I'm less likely to punch someone's lights out if they touch me. I can feel it, or I can't feel it. I can't feel him anymore, creeping up behind me. It's like that telling lots of people, it somehow made him less real. I mean, what he did to me was real, but the ghost of it isn't.
You've realised the spectre will never take corporeal form.
You what?
That it's not real, imagining he's behind you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes, you're right. You said it in much simpler terms. Sorry.
It's all right. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll read all those things that have made you so bloody clever. Maybe one day I'll be counselling violent prisoners.
If you're serious about it, I think you could be very good at it. You have the advantage over me of meeting them on a level. Though I'm comfortable in institutional settings, I've never truly known what it's like to live inside the prison system.
Don't be so sure. I never thought I'd go to prison. If someone pisses you off enough, you might end up in here too.
The only man in a woman's prison. That mightn't be so bad,
They'd only find bits of you.
Yeah, they would, wouldn't they?
Anyway, I'd best be off. Prison dinners don't eat themselves.
I hope this isn't goodbye for good.
What, you think I'm going to be back here?
No, I don't. I really don't. But if you ever want to chat to someone once you're out, I'd be happy to listen.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I should. It might be a bit weird.
No, nothing like that, Dawn. I'm not interested in women.
Oh, right. Well, good.
I'm here as a friend. No payment, no obligation, friends, if you want.
Yeah, all right. I should introduce you to Kev.
Oh. Why? Is he...
Gay? Yeah.
Really? Didn't see him at the meeting.
You what?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
Kev's the girly kind too. I'm the butch one. I'm staying with him for a while when I get out. Now that I'm not violent anymore, he's not so afraid of me. Maybe if we stay in touch, you'll get to meet him.
Maybe.
Okay then.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Awkwardly, tentatively, Dawn reaches out for a hug. Sorensen hugs her. She relaxes. They stay hugging for a time, then break away. Sorensen picks up his belongings, ready to leave. Dawn heads towards the door. Sorensen follows. She is comfortable with him behind her.
Right. If you tell anyone that I hugged you...
Yeah, you'll murder me in my sleep or some such. I know the drill.
Good. See you then, Edward.
Please, most people call me Ed.
Do they? Oh.
Something wrong with that?
I don't know, you don't seem like an Ed. Ed.
Can't help our names, can we? Dawning of a new day then, eh?
Oh, that better not have been you dicking around with my name.
Dicking around with your... I wouldn't dream of it.
Oh, twat.
To new beginnings then. Fresh starts and all that shit.
To new beginnings.
We really should have drinks to toast that properly.
Oh, you can buy the first round then on the outside.
After all this free therapy, it's you who'll be buying me a bloody drink, and a stiff one at that. Deal?
Deal.
See you soon then.
Yeah.
I thought that was a rather good pun on your name.
I thought you said you weren't dicking around with my name. You know what I'll have to do with you for that.
Oh yeah, disembowelment or some such, I suspect. Who names a kid after a point in the arc of the sun, anyway?
Someone who for one moment felt hope, or some such.
Dawn exits. Sorensen laughs. There is a brief moment when the stage is empty before Dawn reappears. She takes a quick look around the room, then flicks the light switch on the wall. Blackout.